Hey everybody, Prepper Nurse One here. How everybody doing tonight? Uh, very productive day here at the homestead today. Love seeing progress getting done. So it's and the weather is going to dictate everything that we do anyway. So it definitely like today was going to be a nice day, which it was absolutely gorgeous. We ended up pulling in 4.3 kilowatt hours today, which was really good, and so really good there. And like so, the weather was just gorgeous today. I never did end up getting for go for a ride today, but hopefully tomorrow. So anyway, yeah, it was really good day. So we worked on a chicken coop. I got that wood cut up. Now I just got to get it all picked up. So I wanted to, before we really get rocking and rolling into everything, I just wanted to give a real quick shout out to Linda V. She won the contest for the giveaway for the stickers that we had, the giveaway contest. So congratulations to Linda. And so Linda needs to contact us right away, because if she doesn't, then we're going to have to draw somebody else. So that's how that kind of works. Okay, so before we get going with this, I just wanted to say again, I normally say this in the beginning of every one of my chats. Please be decent to each other in the chat. If you are not, 454. Oh, cool. You just bought a Harley. Awesome. What kind of Harley did you buy? Put what kind you bought. I have a 2015 Heritage Softail. Absolutely love my bike. So anyway, before we get going here, I'm very easily distracted, as you guys know. Uh, anyway, please be kind to each other. If you are not kind to each other, meaning no racism, no nastiness to each other, you will be booted out. My monitors are watching everything. My monitors are awesome. And 92 Softail, very cool. Yeah, nice bikes. Nice bikes. Really comfortable ride. Um, so anyway, again, so I'm just making people aware of that. So let's please be kind to each other. It's a family-oriented type of chat. We want to keep it that way. We want to keep it decent. Okay. Second thing is, once I'm done talking, any kind of questions, you know, any kind of questions that you guys have, please all cap locks. So that being said, let's jump into the chat here. Okay. So as we know, hey Julie Day, thank you very much for the Chicken McMansion. Yeah, chicken supplies. Thank you. I appreciate that. And we're going to need supplies. That's for sure. There's definitely plenty to do. I still got quite a bit that I want to do before I actually get the chickens. But so thank you for the donation. I appreciate that. As everybody knows by now, Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris caught on fire. You're talking about a 1,000-year-old building. Or 850 years, whatever it is. It's been around a long time. And they had a huge fire there, and very tragic. That type of stuff, guys. There's so much history with that, and which is really cool. A lot of ancient relics that they had in there as well. So I'm sure that a lot of the relics were missing as well. Or not missing, but destroyed as well. So very sad stuff. Very sad stuff. So there was two donations that I wanted to talk about right away, and kind of talk about this a little bit, okay? And just kind of try to put this into some kind of perspective otherwise. So there was two guys from Paris. I think they're European guys, and I will not be able to pronounce their names, but the one guy is worth like $90 billion. He's the richest man in the world right now, I believe, is what they said. And there was another gentleman that's only worth, and I feel so bad for him, but he's only worth $30 billion. I don't know how they're going to get by on that, I mean, I don't know how they do it. They struggle on, but they somehow do. Being sarcastic, obviously. But between the two of them, they have donated 300 million euros, which is a freaking ton of money, okay, to help with the rebuilding of the Notre Dame Cathedral, okay? And I got one of the babies. What's up, baby? Anyway, so, and there's been a lot of other donations coming in as well. Now, this was my thought on this, and I wanted to kind of go off topic of Notre Dame, which, like I said, I think it's a tragedy that it happened. It's awesome that people wanted to help rebuild it. I think that's great. But let's look at things realistically for a second. So you have these two billionaires gave combined $300 million. What would that do? Yeah, I wonder what caused the fire. Well, they're saying, they're saying that it was, workman error. Some guys that were doing the renovations, there was some kind of accident. You have to understand, guys, you're talking about wood, because a lot of the cathedral is wood. You're talking about very, very old wood that would go up in a heartbeat, so it very, very easily could, it very well could have been an accident. Now, people are going to say it wasn't an accident, it was set on purpose and all this type of stuff. It's hard to say. They're obviously, they've interviewed like 30 people, I think, and so they're definitely investigating it. Okay, but it's just, like I said, it's a terrible, terrible tragedy. No matter if it was intentional or if it was accidental, it's just a horrible thing. But so let's talk about what $30 million could do. And this is what I'm thinking. So people were saying, somebody had made a comment. Oh, wait a minute, guys, hold on. I got something else. No, hold on. I'll have to kick that off. Sorry, hold on. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I had the Yankee game on, another open window, and a commercial popped up, so I apologize for that. 300 million. Didn't I say 300 million? I think I said 300 million. No, I said the one guy was worth 30 billion. Is what I was saying. Not the 300 million was between the two guys is what they gave, was $300 million. Now, we have a tremendous amount of people starving in the world. Now, so somebody had made the comment to me, we were talking, and they said, well, think about how many people that could feed with $300 million. But I got one better than that. Teaching people how to be self-sustaining. With $300 million, think about how many public, if you want to do it that way, or for towns or cities or, wherever, put in greenhouses. How many greenhouses could we put in where people could grow their own food and help sustain themselves? How many orchards could we put in with that type of money? So it would, instead of just taking that 300 million and just feeding a bunch of people and they don't get anything other than food out of it, which would be great that they would be having something to eat, but teaching people how to help themselves. I think that it's not a write-off for those billionaires. Yeah, I know. If they donate to this, it's definitely a write-off. But, there's so many things that you could do positive with that tremendous amount of money. And think about all the billionaires out there. So if a lot of these billionaires out there really took some of that wealth and put it towards programs to teach people to be self-sufficient. And when I say self-sufficient, I'm talking gardening is a huge thing, guys. To me, gardening is a huge, huge thing. So if we could have greenhouses and teach people how to garden and, teach them that it's possible. And even on a smaller scale, if they want to do smaller greenhouses, helping people out and helping people to help themselves. I'm a big believer in that. I don't believe in just giving people a handout. Here you go. Here's something for you because you've done absolutely nothing and don't want to do anything, or, for whatever circumstances they can't do anything. But if you teach people to help themselves, I've talked about this a little bit before. Self-worth is so, so important to us as human beings. Okay. Yeah, we don't want to enable people. Exactly. I'm not looking to enable anybody. I'm looking for people. It's a great comment too, by the way, Julie. I want people to be proud of themselves, proud of what they're doing, and it's an accomplishment to help themselves. You teach people that, you give them a purpose. When people have a purpose, they have a reason to get up every day. When they have no purpose, when everything is handed to you, when everything is given to you, there's no purpose in that. You have no purpose. So you go, whatever, I'll just continue to lay around because everything's being taken care of. That happens, unfortunately. Yeah, George just said, teach a man to fish. Exactly. You can give a person a fish and they're going to eat for today. You teach them how to fish and they're going to eat for a lifetime. Yeah, Smitty, exactly. So it's, what about all the millionaires and billionaires who write paychecks for people's work? What about them? They're. I'm saying, yeah, okay. A lot of billionaires have industry and whatever, and that's great. But I'm not saying force them to do anything, guys. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying they should have incentive programs for people to help themselves. I think there should be more of that. I mean, the government could be part of doing something like that, okay? But what happens when you make people independent and not reliant is people start to think for themselves. And oh my goodness, we couldn't possibly have that happen. Hey, Mountain Girl, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Welcome back. How was your trip up to the mountains? I hope you had a good time, hon. But if we have people thinking for themselves, they don't want to have any part of that at all. That would not be anything that they would want. So, I mean, think about that, heaven forbid. But if we all have a purpose, guys, and in a goal and a reason to get up and something to be proud of, I think that's really, really important. And I think that's what we should all be striving for. A lot of people were going to say, all of the people on welfare, they're a bunch of lazy people and they don't ever want to do nothing. I think a lot of people have to get help here and there. And if they use it as a stepping stone, I think that's what it should be used for, as a stepping stone to better themselves, to get ahead. Again, there are programs out there trying to help people, but you think about all the issues that we have in this country. First of all, let's talk about, let's jump off a completely different venue here. Why do people drink like they do, become alcoholics? Why do they do drugs like they do and become drug addicts? Why? Because they want to escape. They want to escape from the reality of everyday life. They can't deal with it or whatever. So a lot of people will turn to drugs and alcohol for whatever. And Wolfgang said, I had to go on food stamp for 6 months. And there's no shame in that. There's absolutely no shame in that. If you've worked your whole life, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Angela says people are searching. Yeah, exactly. People, I think most people really truly do want to have some kind of purpose. But when a lot of people feel lost and they have no direction, they have no proper guidance, okay, they don't have anybody. There's so many young people today without positive male role models in their life. Now, mom, for the most part, is there. In some cases, neither mom or dad are there, which is very, very sad. And there's a lot of cases nowadays where dad is taking the load on and mom is gone. Children need positive role models, both male and female. They need them both. It's structure. It gives them a cohesiveness. And like I said, I can teach my children certain things, but they need their mother to teach them other things. And that is important. And, so I've always encouraged my children to spend time with their mom, to do things with their mom and stuff like that. I think that it's really, really cool. I think it pisses me off when people work and hit a rough patch and can't get help. Yeah, that's not any fun at all. I think anybody that has a tough period of time, and again, it's for a short period of time. Let's see, Jimmy Danny just said role models, culture, heritage, morals, and tradition. It has a lot to do with it. If you have, I'm going to tell you what, I was very, very blessed. I had my grandfather in my life, and my grandfather was my male role model. Now, my father, I really didn't get to know my real dad until I was about 27 years old. Hey, Bug Out Bushcrafter, thank you very much. You can make chicken feed with a mill hand grinder. Oh, very cool. Thank you. And thank you for the donation. I appreciate that. Thank you. So my grandfather was in my life, and he was my male role model, and he was a tough nut. He was old school. He would whoop your butt if you needed your butt whooped, but he loved us, and we knew he loved us. And, I had a really, really good relationship with him. And, he passed away in 1992. And I'll tell you what, it's, you think, oh my God, that's so long ago. I still miss him every day. Absolutely miss him every day. So if you have that person, and it doesn't always have to be family, guys. If you have somebody in your life that's that positive role model, somebody that you can look up to and emulate and go to for advice, somebody you can just talk to that's going to steer you in the right direction. All drugs and alcohol are, honestly, is an escape. an escape from reality, not wanting to deal with reality. And so many people do it because they just figure, I don't know, but I think that you have, you know, people don't want to deal with reality. So that's why we have such a huge drug epidemic and so much alcoholism in the country. It's very, very sad, guys. Real, real sad. Actually, you can ask any chemist. Alcohol is a solution. It is a solution, yeah. But I mean, still, it's a very addictive thing, or it can be. It can become addictive. I mean, I like having a beer here and there, but I take it or leave it. To be honest with you, as a renegade, got beat daily. LOL. Still have an old school value system of helping others. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with it. I'm gonna tell you what, guys. I was absolutely a rebel, completely. I always questioned authority. I never did what I was supposed to do. I was the kind of kid that you didn't want your kids hanging out with. That's the kid I was, okay? And I did, I did drugs and I did alcohol and I did all that type of stuff. I always tell people I had 10 years of heavy drinking from 12 to 22. And, it's things happen in life and we have a choice. We can make choices of what we want to do and where we want to go. And, like I said, anything in moderation, and I'm not talking about heroin or that type of stuff, but drinking in moderation, smoking pot in moderation, whatever, that's not hurting anybody. But if you know that if you drink, that you turn into a mean, drunk person, why would you do that? Because you're affecting the people around you when you do that. See, now me, if I get drunk, I'm a happy drunk. I laugh and dance and act all silly. That's kind of my thing. But let's see what we got here. Grandpa taught me to fish and hunt. Grandma taught me to garden, cook, and can. Nothing wrong with that, Nest Prepper. That is awesome. That is absolutely awesome. And you know what? And the thing is, if we can have those type of people in our lives, that's really, really a good thing. Especially if they bring something to the table that gives you quality of life, and they're supportive, and they have, you should want your children to have a better life than you had. You should want to be encouraging, supportive of your children. And it doesn't mean that you have your 35, 36-year-old kid in your house living in your basement, smoking pot in your basement, not working. No. That's not what I'm talking about. You support them. I'll be honest with you. I would wish Heather would, when she's done with college, that she comes back home. That's going to be her choice at that point, But I would definitely I would want her to. And, when she goes to college, she's going to have things happen and she's going to make choices, but she's very, very grounded and she's, got a good head on her shoulders. So I think that makes, what's up with the large propane tank in your yard? What's that used for? Okay. The propane tank that I have a 300 gallon, I think it's a 330 gallon propane tank. The propane company that I went through, it's their tank. They brought it here. I asked for the large one. I use the propane to heat hot water. Okay, so that's what I use the propane for. And it's also set up in the camper to be able to, turn the heat on in the camper and stuff like that too. But obviously, like this winter, we didn't use the camper at all. So, I had the camper completely unplugged. But it's the propane lines are basically for hot water and for the camper. So I think last year they come in twice a year and fill up our propane tank. And I think the most propane that I've used in a 6-month period of time, reptilian, does that blood and I have no idea what that you're talking about there. I thank you for the donation, by the way, but I have no idea. Let me go back and look at that again. Just so I want to reread that and see what you said. What are my thoughts on the reptilian of disaster? A repetition of disasters around April 15th and 20th. Blood and sacrifice. I have no thoughts on that, George. I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm not even sure what you mean, to be honest with you. Repetition. I saw it. I'm sorry. April 15th, yearly sacrifice to the IRS. Oh, that's what he's talking about. I'm completely lost what you were saying there. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me finish up this other real quick. So that's why I have the propane tank. Um, I like having it as a backup. SHTF happens, I'm sitting on almost 300 gallons of propane. But in a 6 month period, I normally, if I use 50 gallons of propane, that's a lot in 6 months. So I don't use a lot. That was a joke. Okay, I completely was lost. I had no idea what he was talking about. Yeah, the tax time was just on the 15th, so that was fun. Um, yeah, but yeah, the it's unfortunately we can't get out of it. There's not enough people around that are going to say screw it, I'm not paying anymore. Where that if you do, they're going to come and they're going to take your stuff and they're going to sell your stuff and they're going to take your home, and that's the reality of it. There's not enough people that would say taxes are extortion fees. Exactly, they are. There's not a freaking thing we can do about it. Randy Newman asks, at how many pounds of food per person per year? Hard to tell. It depends on what you're eating, how much you're exerting, what kind of effort, that type of thing. So a child is not going to eat obviously as much as a full-grown working adult. An older person is not going to eat as much as somebody that's very, very active as well. So yeah, they can take your stuff. Yep, George just said that too. Yeah, absolutely they can. They'll take it and they'll sell it and you'll have nothing. So, I mean, you either pay the taxes or you're screwed. I mean, there's not enough people until we have some kind of a revolution in this country. There is not a whole lot that we could do to change that. It's just not gonna happen. It's unfortunate. Tina Weber Homestead just said 250 pounds of meat per adult per year. That wouldn't shock me if that was the case, if it was in that range. Wouldn't shock me at all. Guys, I wanted to mention too here real quick. Mike has been hard at work. We had 2 coffee cups available before. Now we're going to have 5 available. I don't know if he got the third one done today, but I know we got 2 of them done. And hopefully, I think he got both of those up. Mike, if you could pop in and tell me if you got it, all 3 up or not. Did you hear North Korea starting missiles today? I did not hear that. No. Russell Grant says 1,000 pounds of food per person per annum. Yeah, per annual. It could be. It really depends. I think it depends on your activity, realistically. It really does. Yeah, you can go on a different list and they can kind of tell you how much. 750 pounds of food a year is about 2.1 pounds a day. Yeah, that's a lot of food. And again, I think it depends. We have 2 new ones up, working on the design for the third one. Okay, so Mike just said, so we have 2 new cups up on the website right now, and 2 new coffee cups to choose from. So before we just had the 2, now we have 4 up, and he's still working on the design for the third one. So that'll give us a grand total of 5 different coffee cups. So we're trying to expand the options of people that if they want to buy a coffee cup, a t-shirt, that type of stuff. So we're working on that. Okay, so just so you guys know. Yeah, I think you would need more or less depending on your activity level. Absolutely. If you're doing a lot of labor, I mean, you could take in 8,000 calories a day. It's really, really easy to do that. I mean, if you're not as active, you could probably get by on 2,000 calories a day. I mean, 2,000 calories is the minimum, but I know people that don't eat that much in a day. So it really, really depends. I imagine during SHTF we'll be eating less. I think we'll be eating a lot less crap when SHTF happens, to be honest with you. You're going to be talking about a lot of people, foraging. You're going to be eating a lot of greens, a lot of wild edibles. You're going to be taking in, like when raspberry season comes in, you're going to be out there getting those raspberries. And so the beauty of a free society is that we can do whatever we wish with our money. Notre Dame is a treasure of our Western civilizations. Greeting from Buffalo. Keep up the good work. Oh, no. I think, yeah, no, I don't, I don't say that they shouldn't have donated to help rebuild the cathedral. I've never said that. And I would never say that, but what I'm also saying is those type of people that have that type of money, $90 billion. I mean, that's not even fathomable to think about that. If he took some of that type of money and put it into programs to help people to better themselves, think about how much more positive stuff he could do. He could do it even with his own company. So, I mean, that he's a company guy and he has a business, he could attribute it that way and do it that way and to help people. Yeah, people better learn how to preserve their food now. Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. Having that knowledge on how to do canning, guys, and how to do other things, it's really, really important, and you should know how to do it. It's definitely going to make a difference in an SHTF situation to be able to have that kind of skill set and knowledge to be able to do those different things. So, yeah, those are important things that you really should know how to do. Really, really should know how to do. And like I said, I've talked about having books, wild edibles, knowing what you can eat and what you can't eat, like even mushrooms and stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff out there in nature that you can use to eat that's going to really, really help you out, So that's, one of the things too, and I did want to mention this, no matter how many programs and stuff that we put out there to try to help people to get people to help themselves, you're still going to have an element of the people that are going to want to do absolutely nothing for themselves and still want something handed to them on a silver platter. Google April disaster, interesting topic. Thank you for the donation too. Yeah, April is an interesting month, man. I'll tell you what. The weather's been kind of, weird. We've had some pretty wild storms. We had, like I said, that one the other day was pretty wild. I mean, like I said, Heather and I were standing outside watching the lightning storm, and it was really, really cool, though. It was very, very cool, but it was a wild storm. That one was a trip because it was really calm, and it just came in, and for about a 4-hour window, I mean, it was pretty intense. And then it passed, and then we just had rain after that. But it was pretty cool. So anyway, guys, you're going to always have people that are going to want something for nothing. Working on my building a greenhouse for this year. Oh, cool, Edward. Very cool. That's the way to do it. Yeah, blueberries, strawberries, both on both properties. Hybrid bushes down here and native up north. That's very cool. Very cool. I mean, we have wild strawberries here as well, which is neat. I have obviously the raspberries, and what are you doing to prep for climate change? Well, that's one of the reasons why I want greenhouses, guys, to be able to grow inside, to be able to extend my growing season so that I can grow a lot more of my own stuff. Face the facts, we're all spoiled. You're right. Yep, Huffy Anderson. Yep. You are absolutely right. We are a very, very spoiled nation. There's no doubt about it. And that's why so many people want to come here because, we just the handouts alone, it's ridiculous, Like I said, welfare should be a temporary solution and then help people to get themselves on a path to getting a job and working and being a productive member of society. That's absolutely should do it. Most of the elites don't care about the little people. You're absolutely right. They don't. They absolutely don't. But here, the important thing is self-motivation is a big part of it, guys. Okay? You can sit around and you can say, poor me, poor me, poor me, because of this circumstances or that circumstances. All those are excuses. And excuses are like a-holes. Everybody has one. It's the person that says, despite of my circumstances, despite of where I was born, or if I had one parent or both parents or no parents, despite of whatever comes in your way, you are going to be successful, and that's a choice. Again, everything is a choice. So you can choose to feel sorry for yourself and poor me, and have your little pity party for yourself, or when adversity happens and you get down, you stand up, you brush yourself off, and you go, okay, here we go, Don't read how Don't read on how to practice. 454 Tiger. Yes, and thank you for the donation. Practice, practice, practice. Yes, get that. But having that knowledge in books is important to have. But putting it into practice is really, really important as well. So if you got books on wild edibles, and the spring comes and everything is coming up, get out there and look at the plants and say, "Oh my God, that's this." So you start to recognize it. That's edible. That can be used for medicine. Get that knowledge and harvest it. You know what I mean? If it's edible, say, okay, well, you know what? I want to see what it tastes like. So you get it, you wash it, and you try and see what it tastes like, and that's a really cool thing to do. Think about, okay, so for today, say you decide, once we're now see, like, we're not in full blown spring yet. Things are just starting to bud now, and I got to talk about a comment that I had saw the other day, and I thought it was funny, to be honest with you. So, but I'm gonna clarify it. So, but once we get into full spring, I think I'll probably do a video on it. I'm going to take my book out there with me, show you guys the different things, and say, okay, this is edible, and I'm going to make my lunch out of the the forest, and that's what I'm going to show you guys. That I want to do that this year. I think that would be really, really cool. So I wanted to mention this. So we're in spring, obviously. So I was out the other day and I was doing a video, and obviously the trees are not blossoming yet. They hasn't happened yet because of the way the weather has been. I mean, we had snow the other day. So somebody had said to me, "Oh my God, you got a lot of dead trees on your property." And I was like, "No, really?" They did not just say that. Very, very funny. In my opinion, that was very, very funny. I just can't believe that, in the north, I mean, maybe in the south everything's green. That's great. But it takes time up here in the north. I have to find some country. The city sprays everything. Yeah, you're right, Angela. They do. Even if you go in the grocery store and you're buying apples, they're spraying those apples. Those apples have a coating of something on them. So if you can buy things fresh, go to vendors and stuff like that. That's the way to do it. If you have, roadside stands or whatever, support those small businesses. That you're really helping them out, and it's going to keep them going. So. In the UK, all owned is land. No, yeah, I know the UK. You guys are limited on what you got out there, so that's kind of tough. In SHTF stimulation, is it bad to have only animals which you breed and water stored? You should have food stored as well. To be honest with you, I think that's really, really important to do as well. Having the animals is great, and that's if you have obviously got to have food for them as well, but you're going to need to have other things. You can't just eat meat all the time. So, being able to have other ways, like I said, growing greens and having that in your diet, you're going to need that in your diet. Okay. I think people will eat a lot better, once SHTF happens, to be honest with you, because there's going to be no more of the crap food out there. There'll be no more going to McDonald's, no more going to Burger King. Any of those places. It won't be happening anymore. Our Michigan apple farmers are dwindling, Smitty said. Well, I'll tell you what, not up here in New York, they're not. We got a ton. Did I hear about the big opioid bust here in the States? I did not, Wolfang. I did not hear about that. I know that there was a big bust of fentanyl that they got at the border. I knew they got that one. Yeah, Northeast Florida. Jessica just said she's lived there since the 90s, and the weather's drastically different. Yeah, the weather is changing, guys. I mean, the weather is definitely changing. Again, I've talked about that a little bit, that the planet goes in cycles, and it's always going to go in cycles. And, we're fortunate or unfortunate enough to be alive in a time where the planet is going into that next cycle. And I think it's going to be really, really interesting. Really, really interesting. Yeah, so give your money to the local growers, not the tax man. Exactly. Yeah, if you can get a roadside stand, guys, and do it that way, or I don't want to say a flea market. Well, flea markets, they have vendors there that have the fresh vegetables and stuff as well. Hey, Lorna, thank you very much, Gibson. Thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. Thank you. And but they, a farmer's market. That's one I was thinking at. Thank you. Thank you, Daniel. That was drawing a complete blank. They have farmers markets all over the place. I know they have them in the cities too, because I know in Rochester they always, like, every Saturday and Sunday, had a designated area where they would have the farmers market, and you could go down there and you could buy fresh produce and all that type of stuff. So if you can do that, I would definitely highly recommend that. It's better if you can grow it yourself, but buy those local stuff like that. Yeah, the Amish have those stands and stuff like that all the time too. Actually, I got to tell you, I was so disappointed. So when Heather and I were out for a ride on Saturday, we decided we did quite a ride, and so I said, well, let's go by the Amish place and see if they got any honey up. And she's like, okay. So we went down that road that we had to go on, and we got to where the farm was, and I didn't see their stand out there. I'm like, what the heck? For sale sign on the house. House is completely empty. I was like, oh my God, now we got to find someplace else to get our honey, because for the last couple of years, that's where we got our honey from. And I want local honey that's grown. I'm sure there's a ton of other Amish, and if I just ask them, where can I get honey, they'll let me know. But yeah, I'm out of honey right now. I mean, I have honey stored for long-term storage that doesn't get touched, but I need my good Amish honey. Get my own hives. That is, honestly, I'll be honest with you, that is on the list down the road. There's other things that I got to do first. That's definitely on the list. Any chance you'll be vacationing in Paris this summer? Yeah, no, I don't think so. I have really no desire to go there, to be honest with you. Oh yeah, Rose just said the government makes money off the opioid thing. Of course they do. Why do you think we went into Afghanistan, other than all the minerals and all the stuff in the mountains that we can take? The opium trade. The Taliban had stopped it. They were burning the fields, and now we protect the fields. And if you don't believe me, go ask some soldiers that have been over there. We protect the opium fields. That's a big business. It's, a couple $100 million worth a year, and they bring it all here and kill our young people. So awesome. Isn't that nice? Bees scare the heck out of me. Deathly allergic. Yeah, if you're allergic, it's probably not a good idea to have the bees. The bees are always going to be around, but yeah, I would like to do beehives here in the future. That's definitely on my list. I believe me, guys, if you saw my list of the things that I want to do, and the cool part is I'm whacking things off my list, then I can move on to the next project. And that's where we really want to concentrate on. That's why we've been, working on the chicken coop. And that's been a project that's been going on for a while. And I know that. But you know what? Again, it's getting to fruition now. So it's almost done. And I'm really excited about that. I think it's going to be awesome. And so, we'll get the chickens when the time is right. And when I'm ready, we'll get the chickens. And somebody had mentioned, like the black chickens, get the black chickens, because then the chicken hawks think that they're crows and they don't go down in there and try to get them. I was actually looking at some of those, so I don't know exactly what I'm going to get yet as far as chickens, but I'm definitely looking. I want a hardy bird that can handle the colder weather up here in the north, so that's important too. I don't want a real fragile bird, and but are you growing herbs this year, like basil, sage? Yes, I do plan on putting those in this year. Absolutely, I'm going to be doing that. So I'm actually going to do those probably more in a raised bed, so that I can just focus on that in one area, and that'll have their own area. Yeah, there you go, Angela. That's the way to do it. But I'm going to tell you what, I have things, guys, that can keep me occupied for years here at the homestead, which is cool, because when you get everything done, then what do you do? You know what I mean? So I have a lot to do. As we get the animals, it's going to make more work, obviously. But, that, again, is going to be a labor of love. They're going to take care of me, and I'm going to take care of them. And I'm really, really cool. Will I explain how my well works? Sure, I can do that. So I have an artesian well, and I have my well is 120 feet deep. So I do have a pump down in the well. Now, that pump works on 120. It's not 240. So some people think that if you have that deep well pump, you have to have 240. I can do my well on 120. Okay. So basically, the way that I have it set up is I have a storage tank. I have 1,000 gallon storage tank. And because of the well being an artesian well, means the water's always coming up all the time. So if you took the cap off of my well, the water is going to be right that high from the top. So it's right there. So the water is always coming up, okay? But so what we do is we have a line running from the well underground to the storage tank, okay? And it's under the frost line. So, but with that, what happens a lot of times, depending on the time of year and stuff like that, and so a lot of times what I'll do is I'll turn my pump on. I'll plug that in for the well pump. Just plug it right into the outside outlet that I have here on my house. And I'll leave that on for a couple of minutes. And it's like, for whatever reason, it gets it going. And then I unplug it. And then the osmosis, or whatever you want to call it, it just fills on its own the rest of the way. And so I do that a lot, if I'm going to fill that tank up. A lot of times when we have these big storms like we've had, I go out there and I'll check. Like I went out and checked today. There's water coming into it today. So I didn't even worry about it. I mean, I was down some, but not a whole lot. So then what happens from there, from the storage tank, I have an underground pipe that comes in that actually, I'm going to turn this so you guys can see. It comes in here from underground. It goes up, okay? And in my loft, I have a pump up there. I have Gould's pump up in my loft that when we, everything is hooked into our water system here. So if we have the water on and more water needs to come in, that pump will kick on. So that's why some of the live chats where you guys will hear, the siphoning effect. Exactly. That's exactly what it does. But what'll happen is that the pump will kick on and it keeps the water flowing, and we have no issues at all. So it works out really, really awesome. And, my plumber was the one that suggested that we do it that certain way. And I couldn't see any fault in what he was saying. So that's the way we did it. Found out we can have front yard vegetable gardens in Florida just passed. Very cool, Jessica. That's awesome. Yeah, I saw something about that they had changed that so that you guys could do gardens now in the front yard, which is very good. I think that is awesome. What type of water heater do I use? I use a hot water on demand unit. So if I want hot water, that hot water on demand unit will kick on if I turn on the hot water, and then we get hot water that way. So that's how I do that. And that's what I'm using. Again, that's for the propane. So when am I coming to Utah? I was out in Utah last year. I was actually last fall. I was out there in Utah. Love riding out there. It was freaking gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful out there. I would like to come out west again at some point. I want to do it on a bike though again. So how do we do our laundry? Right now, I have a washer dryer combo that I have here in the house. I do not have it hooked up right now, and I'm going to be honest. We go to town and do our laundry at the laundromat. That's where we're doing it right now. There's other projects that I'm working on that are, to me, are higher priority, that I'm trying to get those things done first. Eventually, I will hook that up. I need to, down the road, I need to add on another room or something like that and turn that into like the laundry room, storage room, that type of stuff. So I definitely will be doing that down the road too. I want to get a room for Eddie. Maybe eventually, if Heather is, like when she goes off to college, maybe he'll take over her room. So it'll be better for him that way. Do you throw money into your well? Yeah, no, I don't throw money into the well. I was very, very lucky. Are you worried about groundwater contamination from fracking? No, we don't have any fracking up here, guys. So we're really lucky. They don't do any fracking in New York. And so, that's I'm glad of that. It makes it a lot better. But I'm definitely against fracking. There's definitely no good can come from it. So, but yeah, we have no worries about that at all. And again, I'm real high elevation. I'm 15. What do I do if my parents don't prep? You can still, Tyler, you can still prep, just on a smaller scale and, store stuff away, have a bug out bag for yourself, get some skills, learn how to do things. Do camping, tell, and that type of stuff. Your parents may never be on board, but the thing is, you can make sure that you're getting enough skills and learning how to do things to help not only yourself, but help your mom and dad when SHTF happens as well. So that's important. So learn as much as you possibly can. Boy Scouts, you're at an age, I don't know, yeah, Boy Scouts would be a good way. I don't know if you're involved in that or not. They teach a lot of really, really good stuff with the Boy Scouts. Oh, they have fracking in Michigan and water problems. Yeah. Oh, I believe it. That doesn't surprise me at all. Yeah. Any skills, guys, that you can figure out and learn how to do and get good at, practice, practice, practice. That was a comment made. Boy Scouts doesn't exist anymore. Kevin H said. Oh, I know they're changing up everything. I know that. They have it's weird. They let the girls get into Boy Scouts and they want all girl troops. Does that make any sense? I don't get that. I don't understand that at all. Isn't that what the Girl Scouts was supposed to be about? Like I said, I'm too old. I guess I don't get a lot of the stuff that they do now. Everything is done for political correctness, and I think some of it is nonsense. Oh, crochet, yeah, crocheting is a good skill to have. Absolutely, very very good skill to have. Not Boy Scouting; it's something else now. Okay, yeah, I don't know what they call it anymore either. I know when I was a kid, the Boy Scouts were available and stuff like that. Good organization, taught a lot of good skills for kids, and I think that's important. I think they need those skills, especially again if there's not a male role model figure in their lives. Like I used to coach little league, and I'd have the kids come up to me. The season would be long done. I'd be in a grocery store and I'd have kids come up to me, "Hey, coach, how you doing?" I mean, that was cool. That was very, very cool. But I'll tell you what, I definitely had rules for my kids. I can remember I would not let them throw their bats or their helmets. I would not let them show poor sportsmanship in that way. You got out, you got out. You know what? You dust yourself off and you get up and you try better next time. And but everybody got to play, and it was should be called the SHTF Scouts. Yeah, well they should have something like that. Yeah, Buzzard Roost just said books, 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 even if you don't know how to do it. Yeah, exactly. Have that information available to you. When SHTF happens, guys, your phones aren't going to work no more. The internet's not going to work anymore. Wolfang just said the military helped him out a lot. Me too. I'll tell you what, the military helped me grow up a ton, and I needed it. I did. I needed it. I was a punk, and they taught me a lot. They really, truly did. Yeah, there's a lot of good skills that you can get. Absolutely. ROTC programs, guys. Another thing, your kids in college, they can do ROTC. It's another way of doing it. The Girls Guides, they have stopped selling their famous biscuits in New Zealand now. Well, here in the States, we have the Girl Scouts have their cookies. Their cookies are always awesome. So yeah, Army infantry vet here pretty much helps. Yeah, it sure does. Yeah, you have skills. Absolutely. So yeah, some people are putting thin mints. Yeah, I love the thin mints too. Peanut butter patties, those ones too. I like those ones. Oh, yeah. The Girl Scout, they would come around to my house first because I'd buy 12 to 15 boxes at a time back. I don't do it anymore. I don't do it anymore, but I used to. I loved it. Freaking loved them. All right, what do we got here? Not a smoker, but I stock up cigs for bartering. Cigarettes don't have a long shelf life because they get that stale taste because of the tobacco. So I mean, you could. There's other things that you could use as well, but cigarettes could be. I mean, if you froze them, I think they might last longer if you did it that way. If you had a good sized freezer and you put a bunch of cigarettes, cartons in there. But there's a lot of other things that you could use for bartering. Now, cigarettes, people are going to still want to smoke. Don't get me wrong. Um, you know, but alcohol again, booze for bartering. Alcohol is another good one to have. Coffee, guys. Make sure you have coffee. People are still going to want to drink coffee. So again, and again, you could like coffee. You could freeze that as well. So that's going to extend the life as well with that type of stuff. So yeah, chocolate. Some Jessica just put up there chocolate. Absolutely. I keep alcohol on hand. I keep coffee on hand. I have extra containers of coffee that I have all the time. So somebody just said vacuum seal tobacco. Okay, well, there you go. Yep. I'm making hardtack out of my older flour. Okay, that's cool. Condoms, yeah. Well, that's not a bad idea, honestly. I mean, I know you probably meant it as a joke, but no, it's that's protection after SHTF happens. You don't want to have unwanted pregnancies when there's not going to be proper medical care or prenatal care, or after the baby's born, having the stuff, and be a lot more breastfeeding then. I can tell you that. That's for sure. No joke. Okay, well, I didn't know if you were joking or not, but it's a good topic though. You definitely, contraceptives, having those on hand is going to be important too. Think about the diseases, guys. No more going to the doctor to get that shot, of Rocephin. So think about that too. Grow tobacco. It has more uses than just burning it. Yeah, that's a good idea. If you can do that, absolutely. Like I said, guys, I'll be honest with you. I cannot wait till I get to the point where I get my greenhouses up, and I'm going to have more than one. I have some interesting plans that I want to do. I want to do some experiments. I definitely want to have an orange tree in the greenhouse. And if I do it right, I think it can be done. I've seen other people that have done it. And so I think it'd be really, really cool to do. And so, are you anti-vax? I do have a clue at this point. I'm not 100% anti-vax. If things are done right, guys, if they are doing allergy tests on that child, okay, before the vaccinations, and then if you have those vaccinations spread out, which you can do, as the parent, you are advocating for your child. So you don't just go, okay, yeah, here's my kid, do whatever you want. I don't think that they should be getting all those shots all at once. They definitely should be testing that child for allergies before they do the shots. If your child has an egg allergy and they're giving you a shot based with an egg base, that child is going to react, and probably not in a good way. And they don't have the capability, at 3, 4, 5, 6 months old to tell you, hey, wow, this is really screwing me up. Okay, so that would be my advice to anybody if you're going to do vaccinations. As far as that goes, I am 100% against the flu shot. I don't think anybody should be getting the flu shot. It's a complete waste of money. It's all it is a money maker for big pharma and for pharmaceutical and for like the CDC, who buys it and pushes it out there all the time. Wolfgang, there is a measles outbreak, so the news says. Yeah, and think about that. We talked about that. I did the video about that, and it was an outbreak in New York City of like 200 people. That's not a major thing. That's no big deal at all. When back in the 50s, we had, 500,000 people at a time with measles. So 200 is nothing. What is the best way to preserve insulin for a long-term storage? Yeah, insulin has a shelf life, guys. Unless you got like the EpiPens and stuff like that, those are going to last longer. But unfortunately, insulin has a shelf life. The reality is SHTF happens, and if you are insulin dependent, your life expectancy is probably not going to be very long. I mean, I hate to be, I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to, tell you, oh, well, you have hope and you can do it. Unless you can, with between diet and stuff like that, and change yourself and get yourself, but some people are insulin dependent and they can't help it. You know what I mean? So, but those people will probably not make it. Hello. One of my cats. Yeah, I had the chicken pox too. Actually, I talked about this too. When I had the chicken pox, what we had happen is we had everybody would go to the chicken pox party. Kid had chicken pox. They brought all the kids in the neighborhood, together, and they all played with that kid with chicken pox. So everybody got it because it was easier to deal with chicken pox as a child as an adult. It's much worse as an adult to get chicken pox. Most EpiPens will go 3 or 4 years past expiration. Sadly, insulin does not so much. Yeah, exactly. Okay, great comment, Mountain Girl. Thank you for that. Yeah, the EpiPens are going to last a long time, but how many can you get realistically? So, I mean, you have to look at it in that aspect as well. So, regular insulin, it won't be a long time. Yeah, plus you need refrigeration. Exactly. Kevin just said that as well. Right. So if you have insulin, you got to keep it at a certain temperature, otherwise it's going to go bad. So Boy Scouts are now just known as Scouts. My grandson belonged to a no-girl troop in Pennsylvania. Okay, well that's weird. Yeah, I know. I know they had changed it. So but back in the day, it was the Boy Scouts and it was all boys. So that's. James just said he got the chicken pox at 35. Not good. Yeah, like I said, it was better to get it as a kid. And I'll be honest with you, I don't even remember having it. I remember the itching. I remember using oatmeal to counteract that to help. So, can't you run a fridge off grid on solar? Absolutely. I have 2 refrigerators that I run, guys. Run my refrigerators all day long. Normal size refrigerator. Nothing special on that aspect. So I have people have a misunderstanding of off grid, and but calamine soap or lotion to stop the itch. Yeah, well, you can use that too, absolutely. But a lot of times back in the day they would take oatmeal, and you take wet oatmeal, and that would help draw that itch out and stuff like that too. So do I stock up on medical supplies? Yes, I have a lot of medical supplies. A lot of medical supplies. Yes, I do. So, uh, I only get the flu every 3 to 5 years, just mainly fever for me. Yeah, you know what? It's good to build up those antibodies and stuff like that in your system for that type of thing. It's really, really good to do that. So, really, really important. Calamine lotion is a good one to have in your preps. Let's see. Calamine lotion. I actually probably have about 8 bottles of this. So, yeah. Another good one to have, guys, rubbing alcohol. Okay. So, I have a tendency to get poison ivy. So, I keep rubbing alcohol. I keep, here's some cotton balls. But I keep a lot. I have a lot of these type of things, thinking ahead for SHTF type of situation. So, that's what I try to do. I have a lot of different stuff. Do you keep gas masks on hand? Yes, JJ, I do. I have gas masks for. I've actually done a video on that. I have gas masks for everybody, in the house. So at one point I had 3 adult masks and 2 children's masks, and I still have all 5 of those. But now the kids are obviously more of adults. I had the adult mask more for Joshua, my stepson, and my ex-wife. But now obviously Josh is out of state, and my ex-wife and I are no longer together. So those 3 adult masks are for me and the twins. Let's see. What does poison ivy do? Okay, poison ivy is if you get it on you, it starts to weep and it'll spread, and if you itch it, it gets worse. So what you want to try to do is dry it out as quickly as you possibly can. So what I do is I take a cotton swab and I'll take rubbing alcohol and I'll put rubbing alcohol on that spot wherever it is, and that helps to dry it out. And then the calamine lotion I put over the top of that and let that dry on there, and that'll help stop the itch. So that's it's horrible. Poison ivy is horrible. Bumps and itches, like, yeah, it sure does. Yes, it does, and it weeps, and it the pussy crap that comes out of it's gross. Let's see. I'm a nurse rep therapist. I overstocked. There's nothing wrong with that, Carol. Nothing wrong with having too much. Clay mud helps dry poison ivy, similar to blistering if you don't have calamine lotion. There you go. Yeah. I mean, so there's other options out there, and But it's just like I said, it's not a fun thing. Some people are allergic to poison ivy, some are not. There's poison oak, there's poison sumac. It's going to be in the woods. So again, now think about this: after SHTF, and you got everybody and their brother off heading into the woods, or thinking they're going to head into the woods. Poison ivy could really, really do some serious damage to people really, really fast, and not a lot of fun. Poison ivy, cashews related. Do you eat cashews? I do eat cashews. I like cashews, but for me, cashews, guys, it's going to sound really, really weird, but for me, cashews are peanuts in general are a natural laxative for me. So if I eat a lot of peanuts, it's a very, very natural laxative for me. For whatever reason, I have no idea, but it is. Don't try to burn off your land; it'll get into your lungs. Yeah, no, I'm not. I wouldn't do that anyway. I mean, we have burn piles that we use. So as far as that goes, and I try to keep everything down with cutting. How do I use a gas mask with that beard? I haven't had to use the gas mask since I grew the beard out. So I never had my beard this long before. So actually, I trimmed it up a little bit today on the sides. Trimmed it up a little bit here just to. So I don't know how much, if I'm going to keep the beard or not, guys. I haven't decided. We'll see. One day you might just see me doing a video and I'll be back down to the goatee. But what I may do if I go back down to the goatee, I may keep the goatee long for a while. So we'll see what happens. I definitely will change it up. That's what I do. But I've had the beard on for probably 6 months now. Started October 1st is when I started growing the beard out. Yeah, you don't want to burn poison ivy, no, because I know it gets in the air. I know that. What's my snail mail address? What I have a P.O. box that I use, guys. So it's P.O. Box 432. That's Dansville, Dansville, New York, 14437. So that is my snail mail address if you want to get a hold of me that way. Your beard is better than my 3 years. Yeah, I always was able to grow a beard. I'm very, very lucky in that way. I've just always been able to grow a beard. So it has, I've never had an issue with that. So you're welcome. So anyway, guys, I'm going to jump off here. I'm going to end this for today. And we're going to see you guys all on Friday. Remember, guys, we are all in this together. That's important to remember. So the more that we can help each other out, the better off we're going to be in the long run. Remember also, hug and kiss the ones you love. Tell them every single day. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. We never know. Let's see. What flag would you like? Let's see. What do I not have yet? Japan. I do not have the Japanese flag. So if you could send me that, that would be cool. I would love to fly that flag as well. I don't have Japan. Let's see. I think I need a German flag too. So just so you guys know. Anyway, guys, like I said, remember, hug and kiss the ones you love. Tell them every single day. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. We never know what's going to happen in life. So it's really important to remember that. And remember STD, guys. One step at a time, one thing at a time, and one day at a time. Work methodically at whatever goal you're trying to reach. And believe it or not, it happens. You knock them out and you get them out of the way. And that's an awesome feeling once you're making accomplishments, okay? And don't not listen to negativity. Stay away from it. Negative people, they just want to bring you down to their level because they're unhappy. Choose to be happy. It's a much better way to live, okay? I will see you all tomorrow. I hope everybody has a great night. Prepper Nurse 1, out for now.